Hi everyone and welcome to today's video. Today we are going to be focusing on some gentle movements, some self-massage techniques and some gentle stretching. This is just to help us decompress from the week and to help kind of get our muscles that we've been using this week to chill out a little bit. If you've been following along with these videos, then we've done a lot of stability and strength work this week, all in the lower limb and the pelvis. So it's going to be really important just to help reduce some of the tension in those areas, get it moving a little bit, and then give you a couple of days to recover before you get back on things next week. So for today, I'm going to be using a massage ball. For some of the techniques, you might be able to use a peanut instead, or even a foam roller. However, this is my favorite equipment to use for all of the lower limb trigger pointing, i.e. self-massage that we're going to be doing today. I'm also going to be using just a couple of yoga blocks. To start with, we're going to be doing some glute trigger pointing. Okay, so when I say trigger pointing, it's basically the self-massage techniques that I talk about. And it's just finding an area of tension or tenderness, putting a little bit of active movement through that to help it reduce down. It's basically what you would get from a sports massage when they stick your elbow in your glute. Okay, so bring yourself into a seated position. We're then going to lean back, so we're just resting on our forearms. You're going to just lift one side of your pelvis up, and we're just going to bring the ball into any area that feels like it's got a little bit of tenderness there. And we're going for like a good pain feeling here. We don't want it to be too intense. Okay, and you can either stay up like this or you can lie down completely. Once you've found a spot, you can then put as much weight into that as you want. So you can lift your body up and tilt over to the side. Once you have found that kind of good juicy spot that feels nice, we're then going to just straighten the leg out and pulling it back in. Okay, so nice gentle movements. And we're just going to go for around 10 of these. Just do them at your own pace. Keep breathing through it. Okay, and then we're going to just go and find another area. So the glutes are usually quite big, so you can get away with doing quite a few different points. We're going to just go for 3 today. So as you can see, I'm just bringing the ball sort of more to the side. So I'm actually going to tilt over even further onto my side. So I'm getting into the glute med, which is the upper part of your glutes. And then from here, you can do the same technique we just did a second ago, so just straightening the leg out, or you can drop your knee out to the side and pull it back in. So we're just going to rotate the hip internally and externally. And really, I just want to show you as many techniques as possible. You can just do what feels good. There's no right or wrong with this, as long as it's the only wrong really is it being too painful or feeling bruised. That's really not the point of these kind of techniques. And again, we're just going to go for around 10 of these movements. I'm not really counting though, just you know, go for what feels comfortable for you. Okay, let's do one last area. So remembering that you can go kind of all the way across here or around any of the glute area. Okay, and you can tip even more onto the side if you want to. I personally find these the most kind of productive areas to get into, so all along the side here. So I'm just going to bring my massage ball into that area and then just tilting onto my side to put some weight through that. And here I'm going to just do another couple of kind of straightening and bending with the leg. And because I've got my chest up still, I've got a little bit of extra weight into that area. And one extra thing I will talk to you about is kind of referred pain. So right now, as I'm doing this, I can feel a little bit of referred pain going just down into my ankle. Okay, I want to reassure you that this is completely normal. As long as it is feeling like a very kind of low level referred pain, it isn't just really intense or nervy or tingly or anything like that, no numbness, anything like that is not what we want. But kind of like an underlying gentle, oh, I can feel that down there as well, is completely fine. Like I said, I'm only going to be going over kind of 3 points, so if you do want to pause the video and do a couple of extra areas on the glute, then please go for it. All right, but otherwise we're going to gently come out of that and we're going to change sides. If I just switch around so you can see me. So first of all, lifting up, bringing the ball into sort of the main bulk of the glute max, and we're just going to straighten the leg and pull it back in. And I'm not counting you through this, so you can just do what feels good for you. If you are one of these people that needs to have like a set amount, then going for 10 is, you know, a good place to start, but you can always do a little bit more, a little bit less. And I'm also sliding my foot kind of on that mat, but you can also lift it up to make it a bit more intense if you don't want to slide that leg. And then when you're ready, let's just move to find another point. So I'm going to go a little bit higher up, a little bit more to the side, and then just tilt onto that massage ball. So now my leg's just going to go out and in. Oh, found a good juicy bit there. If you don't feel anything, find a different spot as well. You know, the whole point is to actually feel a bit of productive stuff going on. Okay, and then I'm going to just bring the ball even more towards the side, and then bring my body right over onto the side as well. And again, just doing the kind of straightening out of my leg. And again, on this side, I can feel a little bit of referral going into my ankle. This is obviously an area that I need to give more attention to. Couple more movements. Pausing the video if you want to spend more time on this area. Okay, and let's gently come out of that. So we're now going to kind of continue to move around the front of the pelvis. So there's a little muscle in the front here called a TFL, tensor fasciae lata, very cool name. Okay, so we're basically going to find like the bony part of your pelvis, and you're just going to come down slightly, and we're going to move into this area here. Now, you may not, that muscle that I just said is quite a small one, so I'm not expecting you to directly find that muscle, but essentially as long as you are on a muscular bit, not on a bony bit, and it feels good, then we're in a good place. So you're going to just turn over, so you're lying face down, just bringing the body up, trying to find that nice space, and then you can just rest on your forearms and tilt your body over so that you're now kind of doing the same as we did with the glutes, just putting the weight into one side, and you can just roll around until you find a good point. And once you have found that good point, okay, you may even want to put like a bit of extra rotation through the upper body to put more weight into that, making sure again that it's not on a bony area, you don't feel any nerve or numbness kind of stuff going on. And you can either just sit and hold this, or if you want, you can bend the leg and then bring it back down. And then we're gonna just find another area again, so you can just shuffle over a bit, find another area. And I'm gonna just show you a slightly different technique. So bending the heel towards your bum, and then you're gonna just rotate that leg in and out. And it doesn't need to be really big rotations. We're not here today to improve flexibility or anything directly. We're just aiming to kind of get a bit of extra movement through the body, help ease it off from doing a lot of activity this week. And if you find a point that just feels nice to press and hold, then go for that as well, it's fine. And then we're gonna gently come out of that. And let's change sides. So I'm just gonna get the ball and find that squidgy point that we talked about. So not on the bone, not on anything that feels kind of nervy or anything that feels like just unproductive pressure, essentially. And I'm gonna just tilt myself over. So now you can see the other side of my body as I just literally lift up my whole body and tilt it onto that side. And I'm just gonna bend and straighten the knee again. And just keep breathing through while you're doing these movements. And this really shouldn't be intense, so if you're finding that you're working quite hard, then just try and relax into it a bit more. It's supposed to feel nice, okay? And then when you're ready, finding another point, and then you can bend and just do some rotations. Again, it really doesn't need to be big, just enough to feel some stuff happening. Okay, and when you're ready with that, just gently coming out. Okay, and have a little feel of your hips. Hopefully they feel a little bit more kind of movable now. All right, a little bit looser. And we're gonna just grab our yoga blocks. And the reason for this is just to kind of lift yourself up off of the floor a little bit. So I'll show you why. I'm gonna pop the massage ball underneath my calf. And if I'm flat to the floor, I have no real kind of space for movement through that ankle. So by lifting up onto here, it's just giving me that space to move the ankle around. So we've got quite a chunky calf muscle here to work with, and you're just gonna find again a space. We're gonna just do at least one on each side. So you can tilt slightly onto one side, get a little bit of pressure. You can even use your hands to push through further if you want to. And then we're gonna just bring the toes up and then point them back down. Again, going for around 10-ish, just because it's nice to have a number to aim for. But just do this at your own pace. And find again an area that feels good for you. So it might be slightly different to where I'm at, and that's fine. And then when you're done with that, we're going to go over to the other side. Again, just tilting slightly to that side, using your hands to put a little bit of extra pressure directly down through that massage ball. And then just bringing the foot up and down. I find this really satisfying. If any of you are extra runners out there as well on top of your pole practice, this is a really nice one to do. Or even if you just point your toes a lot, which we do tend to. It's a really nice one just to kind of ease it all off. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do one more area on this side because it feels a little bit tighter than the inside. So I'm just going to go a little bit lower down the leg and do the same thing again. When you've done that, just remove the ball, give your ankle a little circle around. All right, and let's change sides. So first of all, I'm going to go on the kind of inside of my calf muscle, a little bit of pressure down, and we're just going to move that ankle up and down. And just keep taking some nice deep breaths. It's quite a relaxing, therapeutic session today. So just use this time to really chill and focus just on the feelings that you're getting from doing these techniques. And let's change over to the other side. So just rotating through to the other way, popping the hands on top and just getting those movements. You might find that sometimes you get to a point that actually restricts your movement slightly. That's totally fine. All right, if it still feels good, then that's all that matters. So I feel like with this, I can't quite get as much dorsiflexion, so lifting the toes up, as I would normally get. And then finally, I'm just going to go a little bit lower on that outside edge. Just for me, it feels really tight there, so you might find that you need to go to a different place, and that's okay. just bringing the ball out, give it a little circle around. Okay, so we're going to do the shins now. So just on the front of that leg, and you can feel that there's like a big bone. All right, that's the bit we're going to avoid. But if you come over more to the outside of your leg, there's a nice squidgy bit here. So we're going to do a very similar technique. So using our yoga blocks again to just bring the ball onto a squidgy area. You can just pop your hands down just to get a bit of extra stability, and then just let the weight go through that ball. And you can do some kind of circles here with the ankle. Okay, I personally find that I get very tight shins. So for me, I'm only going to do some very gentle movements, but you can just do whatever feels comfortable. You can even do kind of full up and down movements like we did the other side. And if you're anything like me and you've got tight shins, you might find there's a bit of referral going down the leg. I definitely have that. And again, remembering that that's completely normal as long as you're not feeling any numbness or tingling or anything that's too painful. Okay, it should all be very bearable, productive feeling going on. And even if you want to stop the movement and just kind of hold and breathe, that's totally fine as well. And if you find that that soreness dissipates a little bit, then that's brilliant. That's what we're looking for here. Okay, and let's just move it slightly down. Okay, there's not a huge amount of muscle to work with here, so we are just going to find like a couple of points that just feels good for you. Let's just do a few more movements here. If you need a little bit longer, go ahead and pause the video. Give yourself a little bit of extra time here. Otherwise, let's change sides. So swapping the legs over, finding that nice squidgy point, using your hands just to stabilize you. And then we're just going to go for it again. So just drawing some nice circles. If you don't feel anything, then move to a different place. Remember, you don't need to copy me exactly. In fact, I encourage you not to do that, to find your own places that need attention. I'm just here to kind of give you some nice techniques to work with. So I'm really finding that I can't move a huge amount through this movement just because my shins are just so tight. All right, so just do what feels good for you. I'm going to just go ahead and move a little bit. So if you want to do that, then go for it. Now remember that if movement doesn't feel good, then just hold and breathe. If you haven't moved to another place yet, then go ahead and move to another place. And then do whatever ankle movements you want to do, or just hold for a few more seconds. And then gently coming out. So for our next trigger pointing technique, we're going to bring our yoga blocks to one side and just place the ball on top. You're going to bring yourself into a nearly lying down position so that you can then lift your leg up and place the inside of your leg onto that ball. Once you're there and you're comfortable, you can then rest your body down onto your forearms. Okay, and then from here, we're going to straighten out the leg and then pull the leg back in. Okay, so this can be quite intense. So we're not going to do loads, we're just going to do like a few leg movements. And then we're going to lift up and then move to a different area and do the same thing again. Just breathing through it. And then coming out and doing the same on the other side. So I'm just going to move mine across, bringing that ball on top. Again, lying down first, bringing the leg onto the ball, resting down on the forearms, and then doing those same movements again. So just bringing it out to the side. And then lifting up, moving on to a different area, and then just doing the same thing again. Breathing as you go through it. It can be quite intense, this one. So just doing what feels comfortable for you. Okay, and then gently coming out of that one. If you want to spend a little bit more time on that one, then please pause the video and find a couple of different extra juicy bits if you need to. So, for our last trigger pointing technique for today, we're going to just do the bottoms of the feet. Now, if you ever get cramp in the bottom of your feet, or if you just find that you're using them quite a lot to point your toes, or even in some of the exercises that we've done this week, kind of going up onto the toes, then you might find that you just get a little bit of tension through them and want to ease them out a little bit. And especially if you do get cramp, this can be quite a nice one to do very gently to try and ease that. So we're going to bring the ball underneath your foot, and we're going to very simply just find an area that's tense, and we're just going to do some very gentle small circles in that area. Okay, so one of my pet hates is when you see someone with a foam roller or the ball just doing this, okay, just rolling up and down. You're not really doing a huge amount. Okay, so we need to be quite specific with the area, and then we're just going to do some tiny movements. And what's important is getting that pressure downwards into that kind of area. So I'm actually actively pressing my foot down towards the floor. If you need to, you can even just use your hands to help put pressure into that area, so you'll get a little bit more intensity there. Just do what feels right for you, and just do what kind of you need to get that kind of productive feeling. Okay, so I'm just moving a little bit around to different areas. Okay, I'm going to let you kind of take control a little bit here to find the places that you need to go to. Alright, and then when you're ready, let's change sides. So we don't need to do a huge amount here, just going to do a little bit in a couple of different areas. And again, just pressing your hands on if you need to get some extra intensity into that area. Let's just do a few more circles. Now remember this technique, if you ever get cramp and you've got a ball handy, then this is a nice one to do just to ease out that cramp. But again, very gently, otherwise it can make it feel a little bit too intense. Okay, gently coming out of that. So to finish off today's session, I'm going to just show you some of my favourite rest day stretches to do, which just keep me moving and keep my kind of achiness at bay. So we're going to start by bringing one leg out to the side. It doesn't need to be like really crazy flexible, just put it where it's comfortable. And then you're going to just drop the other knee out into external rotation. You're then going to either hold onto your ankle or onto your knee, and anywhere in between is fine. You're going to gently pull, so that's just going to rotate your body slightly towards that bent leg. We're then going to just drop off to the side, and see how I'm keeping my chest up to the ceiling slightly. And then I'm going to just reach over with my other arm, and you should really feel this quite a lot in the lower back. Now I know that we did a lot of lower body, and it was all kind of lower body stuff this week. However, I find the lower back is just so hard to isolate between upper and lower. It kind of gets involved with everything. So when I'm having a rest day and I've done quite a lot of activity generally, this is just one of my favorite stretches to go to just keep my lower back nice and loose. And if you are tight, you might feel a little bit of a stretch sort of around the hip and pelvis area. Okay, so we're just gonna gently relax into this position, taking some nice deep breaths. Remembering the aim isn't to sort of grab the foot, the aim is to stay open and then drop down just as far as feels comfortable. Okay, if you want, you can even just bring the other arm down. It doesn't have to be over the top. Or if you want, you can move it over and back down. So just pick whatever variation just feels nice for you. Okay, let's change sides. So straightening and bending the opposite legs, reaching across to get that rotation, and then just dropping over the top. keeping the armpit open to the ceiling, rotating the chest up slightly, and then just really trying to open between the pelvis and the rib cage. Again, remembering if you want to move through instead, that is completely fine. Otherwise, you can just hold and relax into that position. Okay, and gently coming up. Okay, so we're just going to bring our legs into a rotated position. So one leg's externally rotated, one leg's internally rotated, and we're just going to press the knees down into that shape, keeping the pelvis nice and neutral. If you want, you can pop a yoga block under that foot just so you get even bigger rotation. But if this feels just comfortable enough for you, then we're just going to hold here for a few seconds. Trying to really drop that knee down, so we're getting a little bit of a stretch, but it should be quite gentle. And we're going to lift up, and we're just going to change through to the other side. And again, keeping the butt down, pushing down on that knee, and just relaxing into this position. And then we're just going to go through a few movements. So we're just going to press and hold, and then come straight back through. And let's just do one last one going the other way. And then we're going to lie face up. We're going to cross our knees over, bring the knees up so the feet are up towards the ceiling. You're going to hold onto your ankles and just pull them down towards the floor. So you should get a really nice glute stretch through the leg that's closest to you. And again, just breathing through. And then changing sides, so crossing the other way, bringing the feet up to the ceiling and then getting a nice rotation. And now you should feel the glute stretch on the opposite side. The more your knees drop towards the chest, the stronger and more intense this is going to feel. So just really let your legs relax down. Gently coming out of that, just keeping your knees in towards your chest. You're going to just hold onto your ankles and just gently straightening out the legs and then bending, and just go to where you feel comfortable. If you can't get your legs completely straight, that's not a problem. So we're just going to go through a nice dynamic active stretch here, just to get the hamstrings opening up. Let's just do a couple more of these. And then we're going to just roll ourselves up to a seated position. Drop the knees out, bringing the feet together, and we're just going to rest either the elbows or the hands onto the knee. So we're stretching the insides of the legs, and we're just dropping the chest forward, opening out those knees as far as you can. And as you lean forward, you may even find that you get some stretch around the back of the hips as well into the glutes. Just taking some nice deep breaths. We're going to straighten both legs out in front. And we're just going to fold forward a little bit. We're not too worried about stretching the hamstrings here. We're going to focus on the calves. So just leaning forward to a comfortable position, and we're going to actively pull the toes up towards your head. And you should feel really nice active stretch around the back of the legs. And then you can just relax it off, give it a little shake out. And we're going to go again. So pulling and just taking a couple of nice deep breaths here. You'll probably find that if your chest is too low, this is a bit too intense. And then relax out, give it a shake. We're going to just do one more of those. Pulling the toes in. And shaking them out. Okay, and that's us done for today. And remember, if there is any of those techniques that you really enjoyed, then you can go back and do a couple more if you like. I hope you enjoyed today. It was meant to just be a nice chilled session to round off your week and to help loosen off some of the muscles that you've worked this week if you did the strength and stability sessions from earlier. If you enjoyed this content, then please check out my website, which is www.poledancing-therapist.com, where I've got lots of tutorials and different memberships available. If you've got any questions on that though, then you can just pop me a message and I'll be happy to give you more details. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.